What is up, guys? It is Weston. I'm here at Fort Zachary in Key West. This video is going to be about my first week full-time van dwelling. This is the first week that I've been van dwelling away from my little comfort zone in Orlando. So I haven't had an apartment to go back to. I haven't had, I wasn't surrounded by my little area of resources. I did this sort of on the whim, right? Spur of the moment. I was planning on going to St. Augustine, but Jed from Into the Mystery 13 was down here in Key West, and he told me that I should head down here. So I was like, okay, sweet. He said it was easy, but I was a little reluctant because of all the stuff that I've heard. It's illegal, I guess, technically in Key West. I called the police department, and they didn't actually give me a direct answer. They told me I shouldn't do it, don't do it. They didn't really directly tell me it was illegal. They just told me not to do it. I thought it'd be good practice and a good start to be around someone who was a experienced van dweller, and to be in an area where it was technically, supposedly difficult to van dwell. So I would leave here with knowledge from an experienced van dweller and confidence, knowing, hey, if I can van dwell in Key West, I can van dwell anywhere else. What I'm going to talk about is sort of just my experience here in Key West, what my days were like. I'm also going to talk about some experience I had with some locals. I'm also going to talk about my plans and what some of my goals are while I'm traveling on the road. The nights, right? So there's two places that I like to park here on Key West. The first place was where I spent my first 2 nights. And my first 2 nights, I slept out in the back of the Monroe County State Building. There, I asked some locals, and they told me I'm fine to park there as long as I wake up at 6 a.m. and leave, because at 6 a.m. the workers are just getting in, and I can't be there. So I parked there for the first 2 nights. What was cool about that parking spot was it was walking distance to Duval Street. And there on Duval Street is where Starbucks was, where I got my free Wi-Fi, and I worked on some graphic design projects. So that was a pretty good parking spot. But I ended up only doing that for 2 nights. But the other nights, I slept at Walgreens, the Walgreens parking lot. Jed told me that was a good place to park, and so I decided to park there, and it worked out for the rest of the week. What I liked about that was it felt safe. There's a lot of lights, and I didn't get bothered all week, and there was other vans around, so I wasn't the only van dweller doing this. Yeah, so also there was a place in the back, like where there's a fence that you could park, and that was like really out stealth, like no one's gonna see you back there. But I didn't feel comfortable because there were couple homeless people making racket, and there's always cops out there dealing with them, so I didn't want to be sleeping back there. So I ended up majority of the nights just sleeping on the side of Walgreens. So during the day, what I would do was I would wake up from wherever I slept in the night, right? And then I would go to Higgs Beach. Higgs Beach was a good place for me to park, open up my door, and I would get my day started. I'd first get my cup of coffee, and I'd walk out to the pier. On the pier, I like to do daily meditation, just 30 minutes to an hour where I quiet my mind. So that was part of my ritual. And then during the day, I need Wi-Fi because I do a little bit of graphic design. So I would go to either Starbucks, which was a good place near Duval Street, or I would go to Fort Zachary State Park, which is where I am right now. It costs $4.50 to get in for a single person in a vehicle. It also has free Wi-Fi. So actually the first day I was here, I submitted a project while I was on the beach, which was very, very cool, because I submitted a project to someone who lived in Hawaii, and I just was like, holy crap, technology, right? Yeah, so Fort Zachary was a good place. They have tons of bench seats, shade. It's kind of busy right now, but usually it's fairly quiet and not a lot of people. And those were my 2 favorite places to stay. I also had my first experience at a laundromat. There's a laundromat on White Street. We had some good Cuban coffee right next door, and I'd sit there with my computer, free Wi-Fi, and it was a good experience. I really enjoyed it. So for the gym, I went to Island Gym here on White Street. The gym situation was my least favorite part of Key West because there was no Planet Fitness. For a week membership at the Island Gym, it was $55. That is crazy expensive in my opinion. I need to get my shower and also a little bit of exercise. So I forked over the $55. But what I really thought was the coolest thing about this was really just getting it out of my comfort zone, right? I feel like there's a lot of personal growth when you force yourself out of your comfort zone. For example, this whole trip, I'm trying to be more social. I'm trying to open up. I'm trying to get to know others. Did some volunteer work for Habitat for Humanity, and that was kind of cool. I went over to Pine Key, and I helped paint a closet for this family that was in need of a house, and But it was a good experience, and that's something I plan on doing while I travel around the states. Is being part of the community, helping out a bit, and just meeting new people. And I had a great experience when I was at Starbucks. An individual came up and sat right in front of me, and I had my stuff scattered all over, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry." He ended up talking to me, and I ended up being open and excited to get to know him. You know, eventually he finds out that I do graphic design, that I'm traveling, and I find out he's a creative director for a marketing company. I was like, "Oh crap, that's awesome." And he told me he needed a graphic designer. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm a graphic designer." He wanted me to meet like the owner and other people from the business, and they were having a business party at a brewery that day. So I ended up going to a brewery, meeting everybody from this company, and being forced to develop some social skills, right? I'm here alone in Key West, and I'm chit-chatting with these people. I walked up to just people, "Hey, what's up? I'm Weston." And for me, it was very exhilarating to get out of my comfort zone socially, because that's one of the main areas of my life that I get anxious about. And so when I do things like approach people, it's like jumping off a cliff to me. It's like heart pounding, which is so cool. And when you face things like that, like fears like that in your life, there's a lot of personal growth. You end up like changing by doing it. It's a really, really cool thing that I'll be doing on this trip, is just like sort of pushing myself. And I ended up talking to the owner of the company, who was giving me some valuable information about how he started a business. But eventually I left that, and there was a ton of other people that I met and talked to, and they had some great stories. A couple older gentlemen who told me some books I should read and how awesome it is to travel and do crazy stuff when you're young. And I was like, exactly, you know? I met a couple who needed a jump. They ended up giving me like $10, and then the next morning I ended up meeting these couple of guys who were traveling, and they saw the ride I was driving, and they thought it was so cool. And they ended up just randomly giving me $15 and some water. These few days that showed me how important it is to be open and social with others. There is a balance though. I understand being too social can be unsafe, especially when you're traveling like this. But I do like to be trusting, and I do like people. I'll learn. There was definitely some people that I met that I stayed away from. I like to think I have good judge of character. I like to think. Yeah, so what was so cool about this is this trip was sort of just like an insight of what I want this van dwelling stuff to be, right? I want it to be me getting out of my comfort zone. I want to be meeting people. I want to be helping people, and just really improving myself and growing as an individual. I want the free time to focus on whether it be graphic design or art, or really just maybe try something new. This gives me a platform to have free time, live minimally, and do what I want to do. It's really crazy to me, because when I envision my life, if I just went straight to a desk job, I just can't stand it. You know what I mean? This is so much fun. Everything's new. I'm meeting people. I feel like if I keep this up, I'll just be so socially fluid and resourceful. It's just gonna be crazy. And this trip was just a little bit of an insight of potential, you know? So my plans, I'm gonna leave here probably tonight, make my way up, see my family in Melbourne and Orlando, and then hit St. Augustine, possibly Georgia. And as it warms up, I'll probably end up heading Midwest, and hopefully making videos like this about some of my experiences, maybe some lessons I've learned, some information that I've gained, and spreading it to you guys. That's basically it, guys. This was a great experience for me. I think I'm totally sold on this van dwelling lifestyle. It is wild, it is crazy, it is exciting and peaceful all at the same time. And I'm excited for future adventures and future things I'll be getting involved in. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I really appreciate it, guys.